You're about to discover that your words hold more power than you think. This isn't a figure of speech. It's energetic fact. Today, May 27th, Mercury forms an exact trine with Pluto. And that means what you say transforms. What you write is reborn. What you suppress rots. This isn't just another day. Today, your mind becomes a scalpel, your mouth a tool, your writing a ritual. And if you don't know how to use this, you could end up burying your own potential with crooked phrases, empty sarcasm, or self-destructive mantras. Pluto demands depth. Mercury demands expression. Together, they demand truth. Today, you have two choices. Use your words to heal, or to keep reopening old wounds. This video is a surgery. No anesthesia, no cliches. Comment 848 if you're ready to rewrite your destiny with your voice, not your doubt. Let's begin. You speak, and the room shifts. You write, and something inside you reorganizes. You think in silence, and still, the energy in the space changes. This isn't exaggeration, it's a symptom. Mercury in Taurus, trine retrograde, Pluto in Capricorn is activating the density of language. Words are no longer just sound. They're tools for building or demolition. Some sentences paralyze you for hours. Others echo for days. And what you say about yourself shapes your self-esteem like wet cement. Mercury in Taurus gives you the ground. Retrograde Pluto gives you the excavation. And what you say now, with intention, can reprogram your internal structure. But if you're still speaking the same way, on autopilot, out of exhaustion, in defensive sarcasm, you're trashing your own frequency. This is the time to cleanse your vocabulary of poison. Phrases like, I can't. This isn't for me. I'm terrible at this. These aren't harmless expressions. They're decrees. And Pluto right now is listening and sealing them like law. Because not everything starts with words. Some prisons start with thoughts. You wake up with the same thought every day. Sometimes it's a criticism, sometimes a fear, sometimes a doubt that won't shut up. And you no longer question if it's even true. It's just part of the mental landscape. This is the second layer of this transit. The strategic mind being forced to identify what you've been repeating without noticing. Mercury in Taurus is slow, stable, practical, but aligned with Pluto, it becomes an excavator, digs deep into the unconscious, and exposes the rotten foundations you mistook for neutral thoughts. You realize you've been looping the same inner phrases for years. I don't have time. This always goes wrong. I'm not like the others. You think you're thinking, but you're just repeating. This transit is asking, are you going to keep running those same mental scripts or break the cycle? Because what you think today becomes emotion tomorrow and reality next week. Think of it like code and ask yourself, does this code still serve me? If it doesn't, change it. Now, and if you've felt this, drop a comment with a phrase you used to repeat and that you're now choosing to replace with something truer, stronger, more you. You walk into a room and instantly know what's going on. Without a single word being spoken, you feel the weight of a message between the lines. You notice someone is smiling, but the energy screams tension. This is the third level of the transit, the activation of invisible listening. Mercury in Taurus gives you presence. Pluto gives you the ability to read beneath the surface, and you start to realize not all communication is verbal. Most of it happens energetically, and that energetic field is crystal clear right now. You pick things up, You sense little lies. You see hidden agendas. But here's the risk. You can use this to protect yourself or to manipulate, because those who access the field access power. And power, misused, destroys. This is a moral test. You're being trained to hear what's not being said, but you must decide what to do with that insight. Will you use it to raise the frequency of conversations or to gain emotional leverage over others? Awareness is the key. Ignore it, and you'll end up poisoned by truths that aren't even yours, carrying pain that doesn't belong to your story. You're about to respond, but something inside you says, wait. And in that split second of silence, you understand everything. This is the fourth aspect of the transit. Intentional silence as power. Mercury wants to speak. Pluto wants to dive deep. Now they're teaching you that silence can reveal more than 1,000 words. The right silence, at the right time, shifts the course of a conversation, changes the energy of a conflict, redirects the outcome of a decision. But this isn't about avoidance, or withholding, or escape. This is about strategic pause, emotional mastery, knowing that not everything needs to be said, and that true power lies in choosing what to say, when, and why. Have you noticed how people talk too much when they're scared, or how the silence of someone grounded cuts through a room like a blade? That's it. Pluto in Capricorn is training you in the art of constructive silence. The silence that prepares, that observes, that reveals who you really are. If you speak on impulse, you lose power. If you react in anger, you lose direction. But if you stay silent with presence, you become impenetrable. You tell your life story like a rehearsed tragedy, with pain and that's just how it is at the end. But have you ever stopped to consider that maybe you're just repeating a worn-out version of your own plot? This is the fifth cut of the transit, the chance to rewrite your internal narrative. Mercury in Taurus wants your words to be simple but real. Retrograde Pluto wants you to destroy what no longer represents who you are. The question is, what are you still declaring that's already dead? I'm shy. I have no support. Nothing ever works out for me. These phrases sound harmless, but they're bars. Every time you repeat them, you reinforce a mental cage. Today, you've got a rare opportunity. You can break the story, dismantle the tale that's holding you back, and rewrite it with new words, a new framework, with present intention. It doesn't have to be pretty, it has to be true. Drop a comment now with a phrase you're choosing to replace. Swap out a dead-end story for a living direction. Example, from I'm unlucky to my timing is aligning invisible opportunities. This is more than affirmation, it's strategic demolition, it's verbal rebirth. A sentence hits you right in the chest, and for the first time in a long while, something feels lighter. It wasn't magic, it was precision. Words spoken with truth are like a scalpel. They open, but don't wound. They cut, but don't destroy. You find yourself saying things you've avoided for years. I sabotaged myself. I shut down. I swallowed it all. And when you say it out loud, there's no shame. There's freedom. Mercury in Taurus gives you the ground to voice what used to hurt. Retrograde Pluto digs deep and brings forgotten material to the surface. You realize that words aren't just sounds, they're structures. They either support or suffocate. A well-led conversation can heal entire memories. A phrase you've never dared to say can restore your relationship with your own name. And forgive me, said with your whole being, can rebuild connections once thought lost. But be warned, poorly chosen words can reopen scars. And no one comes back the same from a malicious verbal wound. It's not about speaking more, it's about speaking right, with presence, with courage, with alignment. Those who don't get this keep hurting themselves with their own echo. Phrases that once sounded harmless now hit different. I'm just trying to help you. You're overreacting. If I were you, I'd do it differently. These aren't advice. They're fences. You start to see where language masks control, where compliments come with conditions, where the tone doesn't match the intention. You're not getting paranoid, you're getting clear. This is Pluto's domain. Dark, honest, revealing. And Mercury is now receiving everything. No filter, no veil. You begin to spot subtle manipulations, behaviors that kept you tied to beliefs that weren't yours, linguistic expectations, emotional obligations dressed as affection. The most dangerous manipulation is the one that sounds reasonable, the one that convinces you you're wrong for feeling how you feel. And now you realize you're done accepting words that erase you, done tolerating explanations that silence you. Your mind has sharpened, and that clarity is irreversible. If you can't trust what you hear, trust what you feel, because what's hidden in language now reveals itself effortlessly. You speak, and something shifts. You write, and the day takes a new direction. You declare, and feel the world align around you. Words are operating with execution power. Mercury in Taurus materializes. Pluto in Capricorn transforms. You feel that speaking has become action, that affirming is now a command, that naming is summoning. This isn't metaphorical, it's energetic. A clear intention, spoken with integrity, moves structures. The field listens to what comes from your core, and the universe only responds to vibration that comes with clean conviction. You realize the tone matters more than the form, that the emotion behind the word is more real than the word itself. You say yes, and your whole body vibrates. You say no, and life stops testing your boundaries. This is real language, the kind that manifests. You can keep retelling the old stories, or you can use this power to declare your new cycle. Speak less, speak deeper, speak with intention, because now what you say becomes your foundation. You start thinking with more direction, no more wasting time on assumptions. Every thought has a beginning, middle, and end. Your mind stops wandering and becomes a map. Mercury in Taurus stabilizes. Pluto narrows the focus. The result is clarity. You realize you don't need to think about everything, just think the right things. And that strategy isn't coldness, it's clarity. You see where you're going, why you're going, and what you need to say to get there. This transit favors those who build thoughts like bridges, one idea at a time with a solid foundation and no rush to impress. You look back and realize you don't speak the same. You don't think the same. You don't feel the same. The transformation already happened. Now it needs to be sustained. New words demand new routines. Deeper thoughts call for cleaner environments. The trine between Mercury and Pluto brings a change that isn't flashy. It's structural. You don't need to prove anything. Just sustain what's already been activated. Language is now your tool for permanent construction. Use it with responsibility and firmness. If you already know you don't think, speak, or feel like before, then why are you still hesitating to act like someone who's already changed? You don't speak by accident. You build or destroy. Words are your contract with the world. And today, that contract has been rewritten. If this resonated with you, comment 848. That's the code. the seal, the vibrational confirmation, and write a phrase of your own, not for me, for you. Something that defines the new foundation you're laying down. If this cleared something for you, activate this channel too. Subscribe, hit like. This isn't just a video, it's inner architecture. And now you know, what you say stays. So say it with intention, with power, with truth.